I visit a new place, I just want the must-dos, no fluff. So today I'm sharing 23 things you have to do in Naxos for your first trip, from iconic spots to local favorites, and stay to the end for my quick Naxos cheat sheet. Best time to visit, airport ferry hacks, where to stay, how to get around, and where to eat, so your trip feels effortless. 1. Visit the Temple of Apollo, Portara. The Portara is that iconic giant marble doorway you've probably seen in photos, and in real life it's even cooler because it sits right at the edge of the sea like a mythological movie set. Visiting is free and it's an easy walk from the harbor. The main cost here is timing. Sunset is when everyone goes, so if you want a peaceful, almost spiritual vibe, go early morning when it's quiet and breezy, then come back another night for the sunset glow if you don't mind the crowds. Insider tip. There's basically no shade and it can feel extra hot on the stone path. Bring water and go at golden hour, not midday, especially in peak summer. 2. Marvel at the Kouros of Apollonas. Seeing Kouros in Apollonas feels like stumbling into an ancient secret. This massive unfinished marble statue is just lying there, like time paused mid-carving. Visiting the Kouros itself is typically free, so your main cost is getting there. If you're taking the public bus, you're looking at roughly $5 to $7 one way, depending on the fare and season, and schedules can be limited. Insider tip. Do this as a half-day trip, not a rushed photo stop. Apollonas is a cute little fishing village. Plan to sit for a coffee or lunch after. Budget $15 to $30 per person, depending on what you order, and double-check the return bus so you don't accidentally turn it into an expensive taxi day. 3. Explore Kastro, Venetian castle area. Kastro isn't just a castle, it's basically a living neighborhood wrapped inside medieval vibes. Stone archways, hidden courtyards, and viewpoints that make you stop every 2 minutes for photos. Walking around Kastro is free, and you can spend anywhere from 1 to over 3 hours depending on how deep you go. Museum stop, churches, slow wandering, etc. Insider tip. Start from Lower Chora and climb up slowly, then reward yourself after with a drink near the harbor. And if you hate crowds, do Kastro in the in-between hours, late morning or early evening, when day trippers are either still on the beach or already heading to dinner. 4. Hike up Mount Sas. This is your I-earned-this-view day. Mount Sas is the highest point in the Cyclades, and the hike feels like a real adventure. Short enough to be doable, but steep enough that you'll definitely feel it. Hiking is free, but plan $5 to $15 for essentials like water and snacks, and more if you decide to hire a guide. The experience cost changes with the weather. Summer heat makes this much harder, and wind can be intense near the top. Insider tip. Start in early morning. Not only is it cooler, but you'll avoid midday sun that turns the hike into a furnace. Good shoes matter here more than anything. 5. Explore Naxos town, Chora. Chora is the kind of place where you accidentally spend half a day because every alley turns into another postcard. Start from the harbor, wander into the old town, and let yourself get lost on purpose. Whitewashed lanes, little boutiques, cats on steps, and balconies dripping with flowers. Budget-wise, plan for about $4 to $7 for a coffee or Freddo espresso, and $18 to $35 per person for a sit-down meal depending on where you choose and whether you order seafood. Insider tip. Do your maze walk late afternoon. Shops are lively again after the midday lull, and the light makes everything look cinematic. Also, if you're arriving by ferry, drop your bags first and come back. Chora is easiest when you're not dragging luggage over cobblestones. 6. Get lost in the colorful streets of Chalkio Village. Chalkio is perfect for a slow wander. Bright doors, cute shops, little corners that feel like they were designed for photos, and a warm, small village vibe. Exploring is free, but you'll probably end up spending $4 to $10 on a coffee and something sweet, and maybe $10 to $30 if you sit for a proper lunch, depending on what you order. Insider tip. Go mid-morning when everything is open and the village feels alive. Then continue on to Apiranthos right after. This pairing makes the day feel super smooth and not rushed. 7. Wander around Apiranthos. Apiranthos is one of those villages that instantly feels different. Stone-built alleys, old churches, mountain air, and views that make you slow down without trying. Walking around is free, but if you want to pop into the small museums, budget roughly $2 to $8 each, and hours can vary. Some places keep limited seasonal schedules. 8. Visit the Archaeological Museum inside Kastro. If you're already wandering around Kastro, the Archaeological Museum is such an easy add-on, and it's one of those small museum big impact stops with cycladic figurines, pottery, and artifacts that make the island's history feel real. Entry is currently listed as free with seasonal hours, but policies can change, so treat it as likely free and be flexible. Plan 45 to 75 minutes if you like reading labels, less if you're doing a quick highlight slap. Insider tip: go earlier in the day. Kastro lanes can get crowded later, and you'll enjoy the exhibits more when you're not shoulder to shoulder in the stairways. 9. Visit the Temple of Demeter. The Temple of Demeter is one of those peaceful historical sites that feels extra special because it's surrounded by countryside. Olive groves, soft hills, and quiet air. It's a beautiful stop if you want something cultural without the crowds of the main port area. Entry is usually either free or a small fee of around $4 to $7, and that can vary depending on season, ticket policy, and what areas are open. Important timing note, it's often closed on Tuesdays, so plan around that. Insider tip: combine it with Chalkio and Apiranthos on the same day so you get a full mountain villages plus history route instead of driving out for just one stop. 10. Try delicious Greek cuisine. This island is a food destination disguised as a beach destination. In Chora, you can do it cheap with souvlaki and bakery snacks, or go full seafood by the water romantic. A realistic food budget looks like $12 to $20 for a casual meal, $25 to $45 per person for seafood or a nicer dinner, especially if you add wine. Add $5 to $10 for a dessert or gelato, depending on what you order. Insider tip: if you want the freshest fish without tourist menu vibes, ask what's local and in season that day and choose from that instead of ordering the most obvious seafood platter. And if you're doing a popular dinner spot near the harbor in high season, go early or reserve. Naxos gets busy at night. 11. Attend a food tour with wine tasting. If you want to taste Naxos in one go without overthinking where to eat, a food and wine tour is the move. You'll meet a local guide, weave through the old town lanes, stop by a local market, and start sampling right away. Think olives, cheeses, seasonal produce, and your first glass of Naxian wine before you even realize you're on a tour. Most tours land around $110 to $160 per person, and the price can change depending on the time of day, group size, and high season versus shoulder season availability. Insider tip: show up hungry and don't schedule a big dinner after. These tours often include so many tastings that it basically becomes a full meal. 12. Join a cooking class, Basilico Family Taverna. If you want one experience that feels genuinely Naxos, a farm-to-table cooking class is it. Hands-on recipes, ingredients picked from the garden, and then you eat what you made like you're part of the family. Pricing depends on the day and season, but it's commonly around $110 to $120 per person, and it can vary based on availability and what's included. Insider tip: transportation can be the sneaky extra cost if you're not renting a car, so plan your ride early. Also, go hungry. This is not a light snack situation. 13. Spend the day at Agios Georgios Beach. This is the easiest yes beach on Naxos, right next to town, super swimmable, and usually calm enough that you can float around without feeling like the Aegean is trying to humble you. The beach itself is free and you can do it budget style with just a towel, but if you want the full comfy setup, sunbeds and umbrellas here often run about $23 to $47 or more per set, depending on the beach bar, season, and how busy it is. Some places charge a set price, others make it free if you hit a minimum spend. If you're craving adrenaline, water sports can add up fast. Jet ski pricing varies by provider and duration, but a 15-minute ride can be around $88 or more, and longer sessions cost more. Insider tip: show up before 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. for the best choice of loungers and calmer water. After lunch, it gets noticeably busier because it's the closest beach to Chora by default. 14. Soak up the sun at Plaka Beach. Plaka is the wow beach. Long, wide, ridiculously pretty, and perfect for that classic Naxos beach day where time disappears. The beach is free, and you can absolutely do it with just a towel. If you want loungers, expect to spend $23 to over $47 per set depending on the specific beach bar and how peak the day is. Prices often rise in late July and August, and on weekends. Insider tip: Plaka is big. Walk 5 to 10 minutes away from the main entrances, and you'll find noticeably more space and a quieter vibe. And if it's windy, pick a spot near a beach bar with a bit of shelter so you're not sandblasted all afternoon. 15. Having a relaxing day at Agios Prokopios Beach. Agios Prokopios is one of those beaches that makes you stop mid-walk and go, okay, this is why people come to Greece. The sand is long and golden, the water's clear, and it's usually more protected than some other beaches, which helps on windy days. The beach is free, but if you want a comfy setup, sunbeds and umbrellas typically run $23 to $59 per set, and that cost can jump on busy summer days or for front row spots. If you add water sports, that's usually extra and varies by activity and how long you rent. Insider tip: go in the morning for the calmest vibe and best choice of loungers. Midday gets busy fast because this is one of the island's most popular beaches. 16. Snap cool photos at the Alyko Hotel Ruins. Alyko is one of the most unique spots in Naxos because it feels like two worlds collided. Abandoned concrete structures covered in bold street art, surrounded by wild nature and beaches that look unreal. Visiting the ruins is typically free, and you can easily pair it with a swim right at the nearby beaches. Your only real cost is getting there. If you're renting a vehicle, budget for gas. If you're relying on taxis, it can add up depending on distance and timing. Insider tip: go late afternoon for softer light and fewer people, then jump in the water right after so you leave feeling refreshed, not dusty. 17. Go scuba diving, Agia Ana area. If you want a real thrill, scubaing around Naxos is a great pick because the water can be beautifully clear and first-timers usually walk away obsessed. A beginner tri-dive often runs around $90 to $140 per person, while bigger packages, boat drives, multiple drives, longer sessions, photos, etc., can reach $170 to over $220 depending on what you choose and the season. Weather matters here. If sea conditions aren't safe, trips can get canceled or rescheduled. Insider tip: book a morning dive when the sea is typically calmer and keep the rest of the day flexible just in case weather shifts. 18. Go on a bus tour of the island. If you don't want to rent a car or ATV, this is the easiest way to see the real Naxos beyond the beaches. Mountain villages, valleys, historic stops, and usually a swim break too. You'll typically get picked up around the morning, then the day flows through places like the Temple of Demeter area, Chalkio, Apiranthos, Apollonas, and scenic stops like marble quarries. Expect about $35 to $55 per person, and the price can vary by operator. What's included, and season. Some tours include more stops or a longer swim stop. Insider tip: sit on the left side for better views on a lot of the scenic stretches and bring a light layer. Bus AC can be surprisingly strong. 19. Spend an evening at a cocktail bar. Naxos nights are made for slow drinks and soft music, especially when you find a rooftop spot and the town's lights start flickering on. Expect cocktails to be roughly $9 to $18 depending on the venue or whether you're doing signature mixes, and prices can jump a little in peak season and in the best view rooftops. Think of it as paying a bit extra for atmosphere. Insider tip: Go right before sunset if you want the best seats without a reservation. If you're going in July or August, aim for earlier start around 7:30 to 8:30 p.m., or you'll end up waiting while everyone else has the same idea. 20. Head to Paros on the ferry. Day trip. Paros is the classic easy day trip. Close enough to feel effortless, but different enough that it feels like a whole new island. Ferry time is often around an hour, but the big variable is price. Tickets can be as low as $6 to $15 one way for slower options, and can climb to $25 to $45 one way for faster ferries or peak time departures, especially in high season. Insider tip. Pick an early ferry out and a later ferry back so you don't feel rushed. Your day will feel twice as long. Also, choose one main area like Naoussa or Parikia instead of trying to do everything. 21. Head out on a Catamaran Cruise. Day trip. This is the dream Greece day experience. Swim stops in hidden coves, snorkeling, lounging on deck, and not having to plan a single thing besides showing up with sunscreen. Full-day catamaran cruises typically cost $175 to $260 per person, and the price changes a lot based on season, group size, and whether it's more all-inclusive premium or a simpler shared cruise. Most include food, snacks, and drinks, plus snorkeling gear. Insider tip. Bring a light windbreaker. On the water, it can feel cool even on hot days, especially once the boat speeds up. 22. Take a day trip to Mykonos Island. Mykonos is a fun contrast to Naxos, more glamorous, more buzz, and packed with iconic spots like the windmills and Little Venice. If you're going by ferry, round-trip tickets can vary wildly, but a realistic range is $60 to over $140 round-trip depending on the departure time, speed, and season. Package day trips can run $200 to over $320 depending on what's included. Insider tip. Go in with a simple plan. Pick 2 to 3 priorities, windmills, Little Venice, a scenic walk, one beach, because the island can feel hectic if you try to see it all in one day. 23. Take a cruise to Koufonissia Island. This is one of the best value sea days because you get that unbelievable watercolor, boat vibes, and time on a smaller, more laid-back island. Cruises with lunch included often land around $80 to $130 per person, and the cost shifts based on operator, what's included, and peak season demand. You'll usually do swim stops, sometimes even near uninhabited areas, then get a few hours to wander the island before heading back. Insider tip. Bring reef shoes if you have them. Some swim spots can be rocky, and you'll be way more comfortable getting in and out of the water. Alright, before you go, here's the quick Naxos cheat sheet so you can actually plan this without overthinking it. Best time to visit. If you want Naxos at its best without the elbow-to-elbow crowds, aim for May, early June, or September. You still get warm beach day weather, everything is open, and the island feels way more relaxed than peak summer. July and August is the liveliest and hottest, with the highest prices, while late fall/winter is quieter, but many seasonal spots scale back. Airport tips. Naxos Airport JNX, and ferry tips. Naxos Airport is tiny and easy. The main thing is, don't overpay for a ride into town. A taxi from the airport to Naxos town is usually around $18, depending on demand and the time of day. If you're going ultra budget, the bus is typically $2 to $3 per person. Just keep in mind, schedules can change by season. And if you're arriving by ferry, the big tip is in July and August, book earlier than you think. Popular routes sell out fast. Also, if it's a windy day, the slower conventional ferries can feel steadier than the high-speed ones. Where to stay? If it's your first time, stay in Chora, Naxos town. It's the most convenient base for food, walking, and the port. Hotels usually run about $60 to $220 a night, depending on season. If you want beach plus town in one, stay at Agios Georgios. You can swim and still be minutes away from Chora. Expect around $70 to $250 a night. For a classic beach vacation, Agios Prokopios is a top pick. Beautiful water and easy access. Hotels are roughly $75 to $245 a night. If you want a calmer beach area, Agia Anna is great, usually around $45 to $255 a night. How to get around. Naxos is simple. For most people, the best combo is buses plus a couple taxis. Buses from town to the popular South Beaches are usually about $2 to $3 one way, and longer routes, like up towards Apollonas, are around $8 to $9 one way. If you want total freedom for places like Alyko or mountain trailheads, renting a car or ATV makes everything easier. Where to eat? You have to try Graviera cheese, Naxos potatoes, and Catron, the local liquor. For a great seafood dinner with views, Nisaki by the harbor is a solid pick, budget around $30 to over $60 per person depending on what you order. For dessert, Milkato is an easy win, usually $5 to $10. And here's the local ordering hack at tavernas. Ask what's fresh and local today and order that instead of the tourist combo plates. Alright, that's your full Naxos game plan. Now you can land, pick your must-dos, and actually enjoy the island without over-planning. If this guide helped, hit the like so I know to keep making these first trip cheat sheets, and subscribe for more Greece and island guides. And if you're continuing your Greece trip, check out my other Greece videos. I've got more islands, cities, and must-do itineraries waiting for you. I'll link them on the screen right now and in the description. Which one are you doing first in Naxos? Portara at sunset, Plaka Beach, or a boat day? Drop it in the comments and I'll reply with a quick tip.